Hello, welcome along again to episode 149 of the Take a Pull podcast. We are covering day 2, Wednesday, of the Cheltenham Festival. The only thing that's changed is our positions on your screen. I think I was on the right for day 1 and now Dec is on the right. Yeah, your hair's changed and I've taken off my jumper. Other than that, though, we are as you were. We're going to get into the Wednesday. Obviously, the big news from today as we record on the 3rd of March, Marine Nationale now out of the champion chase, which, look, I put a dampener on the day. I was all for kind of Barry Connell's. I was all kind of for Barry Connell's comments. I thought they were quite funny, but they've been directly replaced by Eddie Hardy by the looks of it. From what he said today. So all the respect to him. We'll get to that very shortly.
The only thing I can say about that is Barry Connell owns and trains the horse. So he's I don't know, probably a billionaire. Like, he's just a very rich man.
Close enough.
He became a jockey and then said, I'm going to be a trainer. And I think he's great for the game. If it was a syndicate or something, you'd feel awful. But, like, come on, the captain.
More on that later. Right, we'll start off. We'll get straight into it because we've been recording now since probably, 8 o'clock, and we've had a few on and off starts, but and we don't want to be late for work tomorrow.
I did take some time to download and upload. You know, there was people beginning to ask, would the podcast be out before the festival starts? So it's up now. All right.
Yeah.
We do have lives as well, lads, you know, but sure, look, right, let's get into it.
That's very true, yeah. You might be surprised to hear. Arguably the most open grade 1 of the whole week, well, maybe outside of the Gold Cup, funny enough, is the Bearing Bingham Novices Hurdle, or the Turner's Novices Hurdle, so we might want to call it. This is, as we said, wide open. The head of the market sees no drama this end, Talk to Talk in Mighty Park. Now, as we said, chances are we think Talk to Talk runs in the Supreme. Mighty Park probably runs here. No drama this end definitely runs here. The grade 1 winner from Christmas, Skylight Hustle in there 5-1. King Rasco Grey unlucky at Christmas, with Ballyfad in there around 6-7-1. Dr. Steinberg, a little bit thrown up in the air there about the latest comments. It sounds like Paul Townend is not going to ride him should he run in the Albert Bartlett, and that's made people think maybe does Dr. Steinberg run here. Active Innocence in there 10-1. The Slaney winner, I'll sort that, and the runner-ups are two though in around 12-1. And then I did put in whatever you're having yourself, Bar, but like there's plenty that you might be having yourself that wouldn't be without a chance in this race. Look, it's a very competitive race, despite it being about 7-2 the field. I still think it's very deep. Dec, what are your thoughts on the Bearing Bingham, and who do you like?
Sure, heads up probably just gets home from the 131 club and comes out and wins this on the Wednesday after winning the Supreme, doesn't he? I think I wouldn't be as keen on heads up for this race as I would be for the Supreme. I just think he has Supreme written all over him, but he is still in here and he's available at the same price on the exchanges, and he'd be mad not to have a couple of euro at the 300
to 1.
Yeah, you'd be mad not to have a euro or two at the gazillion to 1. But look, Ballyfad is obviously in here, and I spoke about Ballyfad in the previous. I just touched on him on the previous podcast, and I've been so impressed with this horse. Like, he beat Dovain by 3 lengths in a bumper. That was at Down Royal. It's actually about the same distance that Broadway Ted beat Dovain in air. Dovain's gone and won the bumper at Leopardstown at the DRF. But Ballyfad, he went to Punchestown and backed it up in another bumper, and then it was so refreshing to see him go over hurdles at Christmas, something we don't see too often anymore. Jeez, he was so impressive. Like, he just kicked leader Dallier out of the way, who Luke was so bullish about on the previous pod. And then he's gone to the DRF, and as I said already, I think he just got done by Talk to Talk. I think if he had got a chance to eyeball him, he'd have pulled out and went again. King Rasco Grey actually headed him, and he took a length out King Rasco Grey in a stride or two. I thought he looked so good. I can't see him really being beaten wherever he goes, and I'm hoping he does go here and heads up goes to the other race. But it's looking like it could be quite a cheap race because Skyline Hustle is in here as well from the same stable. And my opinion, Andy, I know I'm having another proper talk here that you love so much, but I did think he was doing his best work after the last at Christmas when they raced. After the talk came down, his form looks very good. I actually gave the maiden a bit of stick when we covered it, saying that it was quite an ordinary maiden, and I'd still say that. But before that, he did split the Devil You Know and the Passing Wife at Gowran. This is a deep race. I'd sort that is in here. He's a great woman, or he's unbeaten over hurdles. Even down as far as the Zarda Star, like he pulled clear with heads up. I'd probably have an each way bet on the Zarda Star to be still a big price on the day now. He pulled clear with heads up. I know he was beaten by Zeus Power, but I could see him reversing the form now over this distance. He is only a 5-year-old as well. I'd say he could be a nice horse going forward, but kind of just can't see past Ballyfad. I'm hoping he does run here because I think he win it.
He seems to be a nice horse going forward, is what I really kind of relate this race around now, to be honest with you. There's a lot in here which, they could get beat and you just, take them for the future. It's a really difficult race to kind of to break down, in my opinion. But Luke, I'm going to give you the chance to do it. Who do you like?
Yeah, it's hard to be bullish about one in this. Like, there's so many in here. Obviously, if No Drama Defend up the top, he's done nothing wrong. Dec saying he was impressive the first day, beating Heads Up in Cheltenham. And then he went on to win the Challow. Obviously, the Challow hadn't a great record going to Cheltenham up to last year. And the New Line went and won the Challow before winning this. As we were saying on the other podcast, I'm kind of singing from the same hymn sheet about Ballyfad. Like, I think he's a really nice horse. He's definitely a horse for next year. Like, he's still only a 5-year-old. He's going to be better again next year when he sees the fence, as we kind of said. Like, him and King Rasco Gray got into a right tussle up Leopardstown, and as Dec said, like, he took a length out of him up the straight, and he just got nailed. But I was a furious today. The Mighty Park made his debut and used my kind of laugh to say, but geez, when this lad walked into the parade ring, I don't know, I hadn't seen a horse with like so much presence come into the parade ring, and there probably was there was that, and it was just kind of like, it probably was an orderly bunch like he was in the parade ring, but this lad just stood out miles apart. Like, I hadn't, obviously he's well back in the day, but I hadn't like looked at the race or whatever before going up, and I was with a few lads. They says, what is this thing, after walking into the parade ring? Like, he got in as first reserve that day, made no he made light work of Rock Dino, obviously. Like, he won, but he won a street. It wasn't much of a race in the end, but that just kind of left a lasting impression on me. I know he's around 9-2 and you're backing a horse that's been seen once over hurdles here. But that impression that he left on me in Farios that day, I think that's enough for me to take a chance on him here.
And just on what Luke's saying there, and like we said it so many times here, when you go racing, you see so much more, and it's often what you see before the race and after the race that sticks with you more than what you see during the race. And like, I can hear what you're saying. Like, I didn't see that day, but I've seen it with other horses on other days, and a good horse usually knows he's a good horse, and I'd say he was swinging in between his legs, was it?
Oh, he was walking around that place, and like, not only was he by far the biggest in the parade ring, it's just the way he went around the parade ring.
The biggest in between his legs, or the biggest and tallest?
Yeah. That too. If only he hadn't the cruelest chop of them all, he might have been that too as well. But the way he went around the parade ring that day, and he went around, done his business, he had done. I know they kind of set off him early or whatever, but he had everything else drunk in behind it. If anything tried to go with him, they would have been better furlong. Yeah, it's just like what Mark said afterwards, that he felt he was only going a reasonable gallop or whatever, and he looked behind him and they were spread out like the washing behind him. I think he's a big horse for the future, and I'd probably chance him here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I love what you've said, because I do think I felt it so many times before, and I wasn't there that day, so I don't feel the same about him. But for anyone who's listening who doesn't go racing a lot, when you do go and you see something like that, or someone says they've seen something like that, you could probably just follow what they've said, because you see so much more when you're there. But Ballyfad probably beat Manu.
We'll have the forecast there and we'll say no more.
Very good. Yeah, no, I got that fit. Like, I think I was with you the day at Punchestown. Dec was the Punchestown Festival, and I was talking about Active Innocence and how he took my eye out around the ring that day, and he didn't relax for his jockey and ran an absolute blinder. He's clearly turned into a nice horse. He went to Paul Nicholls, but it appears he was saved by Nicky Henderson. Like, maybe that's
Nicholls getting beat then.
Nicholls gotten beat, yeah, absolutely. Before winning a bumper then at Taunton. Look, I do think Manelli Yoga is a nice horse. I probably should have mentioned him for the Fred Winter. He's got a mark of it in the high 120s. But he won the Sydney Banks then, beating Glance at Midnight. I thought that was a nice performance. He's probably not the flashiest horse in the world, Active Innocence, but he's definitely learning on the job, and I think he's going to be a really nice chaser. Like, I think he'd be a grade 1 chaser now, personally. Whether he'll be able to win this race is another question, but definitely a horse to take going forward. Going through this race though, Dec, and Luke, there's so many horses I think that are here for the future. It's really, really hard to kind of break down.
Just sorry,
more,
just what you're saying about the race and being able to break it down. Go on to the exchanges, and it's like there's so many potentially good horses. Like, I've gone down to Lestar to start there, 400, €2, boom, have a bit of that. Like, there's so much value to be had. There's so many potentially really, really good horses available at the back, even right now. Like, don't waste your time. Get on and get involved. Get away from the top of the market, because, as I said earlier, or on the last pod, you only need one of these to click to make your week. Like, you know what I mean? If you come back a good horse for 400 on the exchanges and £2 in them, that's all you need. That's all you need for the week, lads. Like, do you know what I mean? So, you have a
great week, yeah.
Always score into it and have a little bit of fun, like.
We're promoting all sorts of gambling now on this show, but no, you're not wrong though. Like, it's for the week. That's it. You're never. It happens once a year. But
don't go oiling into All Star Park and go back the boards. You can back so many horses that could potentially run in this race. Like we said with the Supreme, there's horses at the top of the market who are not guaranteed to run. You know, you can go to this market and you can find good horses who may have had an excuse during the winter. Don't forget, we've had a dour winter. We didn't see sun for 3 months. We've had an awful lot of rain. We're going back onto quick ground again for the first time. Horses are going to turn inside out with a bit of sun on their back. If you've seen something you like in a horse, just take a little bit of the mad numbers on the exchanges and hope for the best during the week, you know, rather than piling into the short money shots every day, and you're going to have to be right every day. Like, you know what I mean? You don't need one of these to click.
Yeah, no, don't disagree with you, Dec. Look, a few I'll kind of give a shout out to, because I think this race you would have been able to make a book on this race quite a few weeks ago, and we did that on the Odds Checker podcast with the lads, Dec. And if anybody followed us, like, you'd been on Active Innocence at 25 to 1, you'd been on Shuttle Diplomacy at 50 to 1, you'd have been on Skylight Hustle at 12 to 1. So, you know, there was definitely value to be had. I still quite like Skylight Hustle, but at the bigger prices, I would definitely take a chance on Zeus Power, who is at 66 to 1. I've said this to you offline, Dec. I can't remember if I said on the podcast before. If they keep him over hurdles next year, I think he could win a Stayers hurdle. I don't know about this race as a here and now type of race, but it's just the way he goes about his business. He's so honest and he's still improving. I really like him. 66 to 1. I think you have to back him for small money. And I do like Shuttle Diplomacy because his form ties in very closely with King Rascal Grey. He was beaten 2 3/4 lengths by that horse at Limerick at Christmas time, but he was trying to give him £7. As did I Started a Joke, who is basically favourite for every handicap hurdle at the festival at the moment. He's about a 25 to 1 shot at the moment. Was impressive in his maiden hurdle on his next start. Like, back in Shuttle Diplomacy and Zeus Power, and even at another big price, a Jigginstown horse, Road Exile, who would have been on my list as one of the top horses to follow as a novice hurdler this season. I don't think things have quite gone right for him. He wasn't obviously right at Down Royal, made amends at Navan, and I think we could all agree that him trying to make the run than Moscow Flyer was just never going to work. He was just racing lazily. He needs a pace to aim at. He'll get that in a race like this. You back those 3 horses, and you, like, depending on where you look, you'll get 33 to 1 plus on all of them. You know, a few quid each way on all of them, and you know, you could be having a bit of fun on the opener race on a Wednesday. So it's a very open race, and I would definitely recommend looking down the field. So they're the 3 I'd have against the field at the moment. Dec, you are on. Just give us a.
It was Ballyfad is a bit of a good thing here, but I also gonna have an each way bet on Lazard to start.
Lazard to start, and then Luke again. Your Mighty Park.
Mighty Park, yeah.
Okay, you're probably getting fair to go at the top of the market from where Dec and I are speaking from. So
I have to scroll down here to find your horse.
You need another phone.
Yeah, you'd want to start. You'd be getting a bit of exercise into that.
I don't even think Lazard to star's entered.
Still has a chance though. Right, next up, the Broadway Novices Chase over 3 Mile and 1, or the Brown Advisory for most people. This race was blown wide open, as we correctly predicted at the Dublin Racing Festival, that Cade Dahi would basically pull Final Demand's pants down, is what he did. The market is starting to come back around to Final Demand. I don't know what else people need to see. In my opinion, there's nothing in his form that suggests he's better than a 155 horse, if he is even that. He is your favourite at the moment, though, Luke. I know you're a big fan of him. Cade Dahi up there at 4 to 1. The big Westerner, I'll get into her in a minute. I think she could be one of the most overrated horses in training, personally. But we'll get into that in a moment. Romeo Coolio, unlikely to run. Wendigo, who's another one, I know he's heavily syndicate owned, probably 4,000 owners in that particular group. Just before I come to you, Luke, there's probably horses double his price in this race that probably wouldn't get out of bed for him. At 3 Mile 1 at the moment around Cheltenham on the old course, but long behold, he's 8 to 1 or 7 to 1. We've Cocktail Divan, who would have a chance here, but likely is handicap bound. Kitzbühel, who everyone seems to have forgotten about because he unseated at Sandown. And Oscar's brother, who is probably a little bit of value. 6 Mile Bridge would be very interesting coming here too at 16 to 1. And then it's whatever you're having yourself bars where I lie, but I'll come to myself a little bit later. Luke, are you with Final Demand or are you against Final Demand? Because you're going to have to be a brave man to be with Final Demand, because we probably will give you a little bit of abuse. But who do you like?
Yeah, as I said to you beforehand, Andy, I'm going to get slated now for my horse in the Brown Advisory.
Get ready.
I'll come to him in a second, but as you're saying, like the big Westerner, I'd be fairly against her now. I'd have her down as a bit of a tractor now. She needs a bit of slow ground.
A Lamborghini.
A Lamborghini
John
tractor
Deere
still only goes as fast as a John Deere tractor at the same time. Like she ran well the first. Sorry, jeez, I'm swearing here now. This children's program. Anyway,
did you
yeah, maybe one might have slipped. But she ran well the first day against Jimmy Desoy at Fairy House before she went and bet Jay DeGrugy down in Limerick on heavy ground. They don't even see the point in running. I think Jay DeGrugy's going for the mare's hurdle. I think they've kind of given up on the mare's chase for her, which kind of says enough for that form, in my opinion. Like she ran in the Albert Bartlett last year and was bet by Jasmine DeVoe. I'm not sure that form is much now. Like Wendigo was in behind on that day. I think that says enough about that for me. Like I think she'd want it fairly soft now on the Wednesday, which I don't think she's going to get. You mentioned Cocktail Divan. If he turned up here, I'd be very interested in him, but I'd imagine he's going to show up for the handicap. Western Folds, the horse that's going to get his ground. You'd imagine a bit of decent ground. A Galway Plate winner. He is a high rate and he ran well the last day, but he's ridden to run well now at Leopardstown the last day, and he kind of picked up the pieces to get second behind Cade Dahi, who was very good and never gave Final Demand an inch on the front. But I just thought Final Demand, he never jumped. He was screwed at nearly all the fences down the back straight. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little issue that day. And you're getting compensated here, like 7 to 2, 4 to 1. I'd say there's lots of lads that are sitting on anti-post dockets of a few accumulators with him in there. Yeah, 5 to 4 kind of thing. I'm one of them. I've been in a treble there, and you're like looking at my 5 to 4 there, and you're seeing 7 to 2 here now. So
Ugh.
you're kind of like, I kind of have to give him another
Surely you're
chance. Like
down money on inflation alone.
yeah,
Your tenor's not worth what it was. You've had a tenor on a 5 to 4 shop 6 months ago, and the price point has gone up since. So the tenor's not worth what the tenor was 6 months ago, and you're waiting 6 months to double it. Ooh.
nah, but he's in a few little doubles and stuff. But like a 7 to 2, I take a chance on him. Like last year, he pulled apart that race of Punchdown. I'd say he would have had to love another chance at that. Turner's last year, I think he would have made a lot more use of him. Like he went to Punchdown, and he broke the yellow clay early in the straight. Now he took a bad fall at the last, but he hadn't broke turning in. I'd imagine if this lad can get his jumping back together like we saw early in the season, I could see him leading them a merry dance here. Kate Dahi will enjoy a bit of better ground as well. But if I'm on him a 5 to 4, sure, I have to take another chance on him around 7 to 2, 4 to 1 there.
But like you look, you see, this is my issue with him. Like the yellow clay is close enough to
I know a lot
disgrace
of people
himself this season.
are
And
crabbing that, but like he had an absolute lung buster in Navan first time up. Like I wouldn't mind his run the last day because like he was drunk at Navan.
yeah. But what price would like Lovely Hurden be if he rocked up here though? Like that's his flagship piece of form then at Punchestown.
Yeah, but
And
he bet him by 16 lengths, and he was hard held. Like
I see. I think there's probably 4 or 5 horses in here.
I do
that
think
to him, though.
it's always eye-catching to pick up the pieces. It's always eye-catching to run on when other horses have done their racing.
It was like Western Fold at Leopardstown.
Sorry, Luke.
It was like Western Fold at Leopardstown last day. Like he had nothing to do with that early battle with the two of them.
And you say, oh, they were unlucky, or if it's they were an eye catcher, but they weren't interested in racing early on when the racing was done. When they were having a go at it, they were nowhere to be seen. And if they were, they might not have finished at all. But they're for other days. Lovely Hurden's gonna turn up somewhere. Like, did you see him the weekend?
That was nonsense.
Right.
I'd like to see Harry Cobden do that.
I was up in the owner's bar, the Arkle bar there in Navan beside Frank. Oh my God.
Nearly right.
The pistol coming, the revolver was almost out now.
Spinning around his finger.
Yeah.
Like John Wayne's with not on a horse, just leaning on a post.
Mark nearly put him up the back of the tractor. Just he was looking for anywhere to put him up the back. The ambulance was right behind him. He was looking for somewhere to put him. He just kept going forward.
Right, Dec, I'm going to come to you for the Brown advisory. Who's your fancy?
Yeah, look, Luke mentioned that he wouldn't be surprised if Final Demand had an issue at Leopardstown. I'm certain he had an issue. And the issue was that he was up against a proper chaser in Kate Dahi. And it looked to me like a man against a boy now, to be totally honest. And that's why it's
You could have gone collect down the back, couldn't you?
Oh, I tell you, like I said about Matchford, the pair of cheek pieces, they put the cheek pieces on him. But he'd been good before that. He was good on Tap National Day at Fairyhouse when he won his beginners. He was beaten by Kids Bootle, but he did head him. And just as a 6-year-old, I think he's been so impressive all season. He's the one really consistent Willie Mullins horse, and he's grown into a season. And geez, I think he could be anything. Like, he had his foot on Final Demand's neck. Like, he's the reason his jumping went to pot. Like, he was putting him to bed. He was tucking him in, I thought was really, really impressive.
Reading him a story by the third last.
He didn't even bother reading the story. You get yourself to sleep there. Don't go down to your elbow. I thought he was so good. And how good can this horse be? Still only a 6-year-old. Luke's made a very good point about Western Fold. And I agree with everything he said. Like even that the Tour de MVLN and after El Fiori at Delmroyal reads really well, but he was ridden to pick up the pieces, and you know, like did Jack leave it behind? Yeah, left it behind on purpose. While Daddy was tucking baby up in the bed up top there down the back straight. You could call it a long way out. Really impressive. Predators Gold. You know what was he was third in the Ballymore behind Ballybourne, and then he was placed in another Grade 1 at the Punchestown Festival. I think we've spoken about him a lot. He's the perfect example of how Willie's horses are running this season. He was so good. He was so good to be Slade Steele and Wingman off a long layoff on his in his beginner's chase. And then he went to Punchestown to run the Killiney and ran like a horse who needed to run. And a lot of Willies have ran that way. And I really like Predators Gold, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him bounce back. But a 6-year-old Kate Dahi, I think, kicks all these out of the way. The one I would be absolutely terrified of would be Cocktail Devine, but hopefully he's going to hack up off 150. Is it in 150 in the Jack Richards? Yeah, I think it's Kate Dahi's to lose. I'm very excited about this horse.
Right, Kate Dahi for Dec. Yeah, I think he's the most likely probably winner myself, but I'm going to go overboard on an outsider, and you just mentioned him, Dec. I'm going to have a right cut at Predators Gold, hoping he gets declared. It's his only entry as far as I'm aware. He's only had 2 chase starts, so there's no handicap fallback for him. I've watched back his chase starts a few times, and look, I've already said I haven't lost faith in Slade Steele now. I probably should have, but the proximity that Slade Steele and Predators Gold beat Wingman that day at Navan made me think they were 2 very good horses. And Predators Gold, after having his first start in God knows how long, managed to get the better of Slade Steele, and I had a pretty good cut at Slade Steele that day, done my money. And usually when I do my money and they're second, I tend to want to follow the horse that, beat the horse I put my money down on. That was obviously Predators Gold. He was too short the next day in the Killiney Novices Chase, which both myself and yourself, Dec, and I know Luke probably does as well. That is very often a race that throws up Cheltenham Festival winners. It's nearly automatic, to be honest. And you find winners from that race at the Cheltenham Festival nearly every year. Predators Gold was 4-6 to win that race. It was subsequently won by Capija Pike, who is staying put and is going to go for the Willowworm Gold Cup at Ferryhouse. Jacob's Ladder was second, who has won twice since. Won a handicap at the Dublin Racing Festival and won a Grade 3 last weekend. Predators Gold was third. He made his own running, and I think they got racing a little bit too early, him and the Enabler. So the first thing that I thought was impressive about that run is the proximity that he put between himself and the Enabler. The Enabler fell out the back of the telly, and Predators Gold was only beaten 4 1/4 lengths by a horse that wouldn't have been unfancied in the Arkle, and a horse that's won twice over 2 miles since. So there's that for a start. The horse that was fifth, that was tailed off, was Pure Steel, who's won next time out, by the way. Hit the third last pretty badly as race was run then. Another thing that you could possibly factor in, and Dec, you alluded to this a little bit, Predators Gold won on his next start and then ran as if he needed the run on his next start. Now, I think he just got racing with the Enabler a little bit too early. But it's happened to a few.
I was there that day, Andy, and one of the weirdest and strangest things that I can't work out is I thought he looked big.
Right.
And like we've spoken about already about the importance of being at the track and what you see. I remember him going out that day, and I think I had him in a double or a treble or something. And then we couldn't see past him when we done the pod.
Yeah.
And I thought he looked big there. And then he ran like a horse. He ran like the horse who should have ran at Navan, was it? Or Nace? Was it Navan? His beginner's chase when he won it. He ran like the horse who should have ran that day. And he looked like the horse. It wasn't at Navan, but he looked like the horse who should have ran that day.
Yeah.
And that's what I just think. Following Willie's horses this season has It's been strange. It's been very, very difficult to work out, and that's
Yeah.
why I'm not putting the Willie down in any way. You absolutely couldn't, but that's why I'd find it hard to have an awful lot of confidence in a lot of his horses
Yeah.
going into this festival because of these reasons. Like he looked big that day, I thought, going out when he shouldn't have after winning a tough beginner's chase. Like,
yeah, look, as you said, he missed a season. There's a chance he could have bounced on a second run. That happens quite often. Yeah, but like even when you look at the proximity puts you enabler, he could have been picked up by 2-mile horses, and maybe him and the other stayer got racing a bit too quick. The general consensus about Predator's Goal when he was novice hurdler was everyone thought he was going to be a really good staying chaser. He now has the opportunity to become a really good staying chaser. Personally speaking, I don't think this is a strong race. I think the staying novice chasers this year are a little bit below par, to be brutally honest with you. As we said, introducing this race, the Big Westerner, I'd sleep on her all day now. Wouldn't have any qualms about Predator's Gold or any of the ones at the front of the market beating her. Final Demand has blotted his copybook, even though winning at Limerick, in my opinion, and he was put out of the way by Kate Daughy. I don't see him reversing that form. You then have Western Fold. I could see him run the good race. Kit's Boohal definitely has a chance. Oscar's brother, he could still be Irish national bound, but it does look like he's running here. I wouldn't be losing sleep on any of them. And then Wendigo, who I just mentioned, absolutely spanked at Kempton, beat a 10-year-old that came back off a tendon injury last time out, and now is suddenly 7-1 for this race. There's at least 8 or 9 horses in here that I'd have ahead of him. So I don't think this is a strong race at all. Predator's Gold only having his third start. First time at 3 miles. I'm not far off napping him. I genuinely not. Danny Mullins, I think, is going to ride because he rode him at Navan. He's 66-1 best price at the moment, and he's one of my best bets on Wednesday. I'd be pretty disappointed now if he lined up and wasn't placed. So that's where I'm going here. He was one of my early fancies for this race.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Kate thought he took him into bed too.
Well, if he tucks him into bed and he's second, I'll still be delighted. But I think he's way too big a price, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a few quid from him on the day now. So the Predator's Goal for myself, Kate Daughy for Dec, and Final Demand for Lukey. We were a while on that race. Right, we're moving on to the BetMGM Cup Handicap Hurdle. My condolences to Coral, who had to sacrifice.
Condolences to Coral. They're hitting the jackpot here.
That's what I mean. You jumped the gun on me. Yeah.
We go to the Coral Cup now.
Well, they also their parent company, I'm pretty sure, owns BetMGM in England as well. So they basically just cut the sponsorship and got BetMGM to sponsor it. And anyway, it's not a good look because there's all this writing about the gambling levy and all these bookie sponsorships, losing, racing's losing sponsorship left, right, and center. Coral pulled their sponsorship from their probably biggest sponsored race of the year, and then their basically partners take it up, and suddenly, but the problem is gambling tax. It's not a good look in my opinion. But we're not here to talk about gambling tax or levies or anything like that. We're here to talk about the BetMGM Cup at the moment. Dec, I'm going to come to you first. I started a joke. Stormheart, Katira, all up the top of the market there at 10-1. The Yellow Clay, who we were just mentioning, took that absolute perler at the end of last season there, 12-1. Jumpalen, who we mentioned, charity race prep, just like the Goffer when he went favourite for, I think it was the cross country or maybe the ultimate. He's in here as well with Iberico Lord, who's having about his 12th attempt at this race. Came from nowhere, Jinko Blue. Kopek to me, who was basically a God-given certainty in the Martin Pipe last year, they're at 16-1. I put others on request, but don't ask me. Dec, who are you fancying here for the BetMGM Cup?
I don't really fancy anything, to be honest. I'll be really, really quick. Like the passing wife is in here, but I think they're weren't happy with the mark, and they're talking about going for the Albert Bartlett. Maybe like the lack of handicap experience. If he turned up, I'd be very, very interested now. But the lack of handicap experience would be a little bit of a concern. But he does have grade 1 experience over 2 miles, which may cancel that out. Third in the Royal Bond. He was third behind the De Villeneuve and Skylight Hustle. It all reads as good form, but I do believe they're going for the Albert Barta. Put Your Hands Together is in here, but he's also in the county. I'd be more interested in him here now. He won the Fred Winter and been a little bit disappointing, let's say, since then. He did win the Cesarovic as a reserve last October. Look, I hope she doesn't turn up here. And I think it'd be madness if she did turn up here, similar to Break My Soul. Like, if you have a mare who's even, you think she's a chance of placing in the grade 1, you should be running in a handicap, Cheltenham or not, like, you know. But Fever Dancer would probably win if she turns up. But placing in the Stayers Hurdle would mean a lot more to her and the owner, in my opinion, than winning a BetMGM Cup. But, you know,
It sounds so bad, doesn't it?
It sounds rotten, doesn't it? Look, anyone who has listened to us before or follows us knows my opinion on this mare, and knows what I'll be saying on the next show. But she'd probably win this, but it wouldn't be enough for me if I owned her. I'd rather go out with my shield in the Stayers Hurdle, third, get me a bit of black type grade 1, you know, than winning this.
Yeah,
but she probably would win it, but, you know. Look, I'm hoping one of you will give me the winner of this, to be honest.
Yeah, this is probably a race on the day, because you're dealing with a plethora of multiple entries, really, aren't you? Luke, can you share some wisdom on this?
Dec was looking for one of us to give him a winner now, and he's after disappearing right as we start to talk about a few horses. So he mustn't be too stuck for the winner of this. But Ballyadam, it looks likely to line up again, even at the age of 11. Like, he's always run his race here, but at back at 33s, maybe not. But, like, you could sneak a place with him at a big price. The main one that I fell down on was Far and Glory. I'd love to see him step up and trip here. You'd imagine with him and Dowie that they'd be split. Like, he ran well over fences behind Lecky Watson, and he's second or third behind Maxim over hurdles over further. He returned this year after a year off to run well behind Glen Killen, and then he shaped very nicely behind Stormheart over 2 miles at Gorn the last day. Like, he's a former Grade 1 winner in the Royal Bond a few years ago. I think the step up and trip could be a big plus for him. And if he turned up here, I'd be fairly... I'd be taking the 33-1 about him anyway if he turned up here. And one at a bigger price again was Beckett Rock, Mouse of Henry de Bromheads. He'd been chasing this year, and I don't think he ever really jumped well enough over fences. Like, he went off favourite first time up over fences when he's bet out of sight by Irish Panther. He ran well in a handicap chase the last day off 127 behind Mount Frisco. He went off favourite again. But I'd hark back to this race last year when he finished 6th behind Jimmy DeSoy. Like, he made up a lot of lay headway. I thought he ran quite well off his mark 140. He's been dropped 3 pounds this year. I think, like, with the two of them at big prices, I'd be taking a chance on them.
Yeah, you should be able to land a bet yourself if Becker Rock rocks up here, because he's a plethora of entries at chase and hurdle. So, yeah, fair play if you can guess that one, Lukey. But yeah, the two big prices. Feet of an answer even still herself 25-1 here. If you're going without non-runner no bet concessions. Yeah, I think hopefully she goes to Stayers.
Actually goes here. The horse should be taken off that, man.
The propaganda started.
I'm probably going to stick somewhere near the top of the market. Again, a lot of people not going to be surprised. I'd probably be when I started a joke who I had him down as the Martin Pipe horse, but I think there's rumblings that he's going to go here. He is up towards the top of the market. I think that the step up and trip is what's big here about him. All his form is at 2 miles, obviously. Bones on Fire, we still don't know how good he actually is. He just keeps winning. And they've pulled well clear the third that day. There's no point in backing him at the moment, I don't think, though, because he still has so many entries. And if you're going non-runner, no bet, you might as well wait until the day. And if you're going, anti-post, it's probably just worth waiting. The other one I probably should pop up another horse that I really like, but could be Martin Pipebound as well. Wendrock, who was pulled up at the Dublin Racing Festival. I think the ground was just too heavy for him that day. He just didn't go a yard. I would expect a much better performance when we see him next, but this is probably a race we need to wait on because there's just so many double, triple entries. Jump Alen probably deserves a shout out too, but again, we don't know where he's going. Was really progressive for Willie Mullins in England in the spring of last season. Hasn't been seen since, bar with that up the yard challenge where he won, but all that tells you is he's alive and well. If he can continue his progression, he would definitely be very, very interesting. Happy to move on, lads.
Yeah.
Keep kicking.
Awesome. Right, on next to one of my favourite races of the week, the Glenfarclas Cross Country Chase. It's a limited handicap, just shy of 3 3/4 miles. A few legends of the game here, I suppose. Now, Stumptown 9-4 after his heroics in Slovakia or wherever.
Czechia.
Sorry?
Czechia.
Is it Czechia? Okay. I wasn't sure if it was Slovakia or Czechia. It would have been Czechoslovakia back in the day.
Back in the olden days, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. The last two times winner, last two times he ran, Favori de Chamdou, Paddy Power winner, and then the winner on Trials Day. Very, very impressive. Has a big, big weight now. Vanillier maybe mightn't take the wrong turn this year. Is in there around 13-2. And then you've got the Goffer, French Dynamite, Desert Morehouse, a few others. Dec, who do you fancy here for the Glenfarclas Chase?
Yeah, look, it is a thing. I've mentioned it before that weight were never really a thing that I consider too much. And when myself and Luke were down doing the stable tour in Dunhu, I was over the moon to hear him say, key things weight don't matter in those races. So I can't really see past the top two, Stumptown and Favori de Chamdou. I do remember back in Favori de Chamdou from Albert Bartlett in 1993, I think it was. And it's great to see him finally fulfilling his potential that I believed he had.
At 11, by the way.
What?
At age 11, by the way.
11, yeah. No, I think he was 8 when he ran in the Albert Bartlett in 1993. Was he? He was fairly early now when he ran in the Albert Bartlett, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Took a while to come to hand, Ori.
Really? No, he was unlucky with injuries. He was behind Chinks of Light, I think. It was with John McConnell. Probably could have been a nice horse as well.
Probably ran him over 2 miles at Cheltenham or something.
Yeah, he was running Chinks of Light over a long trip. Look, I've always been a fan of Favori de Chamdou. I could never see him in the Paddy Power now, but he did. He got the job done. And then he's followed up. He's won well now at Cheltenham. It's between the two of them for me. It's a discipline. If you can take to it, just forget about the weight. You're just kind of you're beating horses who aren't up to the task. And these two are really, they are up to the task. Stumptown, like, what a moment for like Keith, for Gavin, for Irish Racing when he went and won the Velka Parjabika. I think it was a proud moment for the industry. And Keith it was back a couple of days later in the actual road count down at Punchestown, and he was in great form. Great pictures I got him and George, and a great time. Got to chat to him about it, and he had to do, I think he'd do 11-2 that day or something, like, so we had a bit of crack about the meal he had afterwards. I'd say it was a bit of eating on it now. Say he enjoyed himself, but the horse been off since. But he's kind of like, did we watch this together last year, Andy? And he was kind of in trouble the whole way around, and then we
were sitting in the parade ring at the steps, sitting down, and we went out for the final lap. We went out to the grandstand.
Yeah, and it's the sort of horse you want for this race, and it's just the sort of horse he is. He's lazy and he's not. There's nothing impressive about him, and then he just turned into the straight and he just picked up and just went away and won. Like, and it was, after sweating the whole way around, it was kind of never in doubt when he won the race. But things always make sense afterwards as well. I do see it hard to, he's going to keep a lot of them out of the race, isn't he? What's the rule? You can only be 15 pounds.
Yeah, 15 pounds out. So something like 124, 125. If he's declared, like, they're instantly out. So
yeah. Well, look, I don't know what Keith said. Or Aid said Keith was confident enough now when we were down there. Don't know whether you heard that, Luke. Yeah, that'd be enough for me now.
Yeah, well, I hope. Yeah, look, the horse obviously had a tough time out in Eastern Europe, but he won and came back.
Well, I don't know if he had a tough time, but he just wasn't bothered. He just wasn't bothered. Did you see him? Like, he didn't enjoy any of it, and then he turned into the straight and he just picked up and he won. And like he said, like, well, I knew when we got into the straight, it was like, I don't have many hands down. It was like I knew it was over then. Like, I knew he was going to win because that's the type of horse he has, and that's why he's suited to these disciplines, because he's so lazy and he's saving so much for himself. And that's why I'd never be worried about did that race leave a mark on him, because sure, he's doing nothing.
Yeah. Imagine he actually gave a shot. He'd probably be a Gold Cup horse.
Yeah, he probably would be a Gold Cup horse if he gave a shot, but he's doing nothing, Whereas, do you remember when Galopin Deschamps was heading for his first Gold Cup, we were saying he's too exuberant to win a Gold Cup, like he's doing too much. Like, this fella's doing absolutely nothing. Like, he's barely lifting his legs when he gets to the obstacles.
Well, that's what makes him so good about the cross-country discipline, isn't it? He just brushes through them.
Yeah. So, like, it's a very specialist race. He has the one jockey you would want, in this discipline now. It wasn't Ian Carberry, now it's Keith Dunhu, and he's the perfect horse for it. It's so difficult to see him being, and he deserves to win it after what he done. To hear around the vein in a race meeting, I thought was kind of special.
Yeah, it's cool for sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, we'll probably end up watching the cross country together again this year, Dec. Do you remember the year your dad slipped? It was the year that was the funniest thing ever. It was the
year. He remembers
Tiger Roll and Delta Work, and he was cheering them on. And he was suddenly on his arse. It was just
He said a lot of people just going and laughed at him. Muck up his whole back. He still has nightmares about it.
Oh, fantastic. Luke, who do you fancy for the cross country?
If we got good ground, I'd be all over final orders here. He'd a lot of backbone. Like, he won the 2 mile handicap chase in Leopardstown once upon a time. He went over, he ran in that cross country race at Cheltenham in December and he hosed up off 138.
What was the trip there, Luke? How many laps was this? Because this is 16 laps.
It was the same, 3 miles and half, 5.5 furlongs. Like, this lad is very talented. Like, he was really taken to the discipline. Like, he's not a big horse by any stretch of the imagination, but he's really taken to this. The first time he ran over the cross country was a Punchestown the end of last season. He finished third. He wasn't that far at all. He was 2.25 lengths for his first time. He took to the course at like a natural at Cheltenham in December. I'd happily forgive him to run in January on soft ground. Like, he just needs good ground. If he was to get good ground, I'd be all over him. But if it wasn't good ground, and usually like the cross country track will be a bit quicker than the normal track, shall we say. But if it was on the slow side, I'd be with Favre de Chanduna. This lad has mugged me off now many times. And he even done it in the Paddy Power, beating Search for Glory. That was topping off of it now. But he really took to it the last day in Cheltenham. It was very impressive. He has been hit by the handicapper since.
Yeah, but weights don't matter.
Stumptown is... Yeah, to a certain extent, I'd say.
Sorry, just with the weights, like, final demand, our final orders was... He was a 2 mile handicap chaser. Isn't it mad how this discipline is such a leveler? whatever trip, whatever weight you're carrying. Like if you're good or
Yeah,
you're good.
but his final demand got older. Like he was bet by Dunboyne last year up in Ulster in that national, wasn't he? He was second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he
he
was
was
second
beat
behind
by him.
Dunboyne.
Like now, John's saying like he was a 2 mile chaser, and then all of a sudden he can hack around, jumping banks and stuff. Like, I think it's a fantastic.
Yeah, and
fantastic
hopefully
series.
this year we'll get. Hopefully this year we'll get to go out into the middle of the track there and get to see it up and close.
Yeah,
up close and
finally,
personal.
please. Yeah, I've been waiting for years. I think I'm 0 and about 18 now, trying to get out.
I've been out there.
Yeah, but sure, you were back there in 1990 when they didn't have TVs.
I built the cheese wedges.
There when Favori Deschamps' novice hurling days, probably out there.
But yeah, for me, if it's go ground final orders, if it's anything else, I'd be a Favori Deschamps.
Okay, no worries, bud. Yeah, I would love to see Stumptown win this. Like, I think they should probably build a statue for him at this rate. Like, he's a very unique horse, very special horse, and I think the public should probably get behind him that little bit more. If he could go win a Grand National now, that would really bring it home. But that would be. He's not even entered, so that's just obviously not happening. But legend of a horse. Hopefully, he goes close. Yeah, I would be similar now. In terms of the ground, if it was very testing, Favori Deschamps would have to have a chance. Good ground, maybe French Dynamite, who has winning form, I believe, at Cheltenham on the cross country course. For Mouse Morris, he wouldn't be without a chance for sure. If the ground came up decent, I think he won. He won a cross country, didn't he? I hope he did. French Dynamite, maybe not. I believe he did though. Anyway, I do think the one I'd want to be against anyway is Desert Moor House, who seems to be priced on his win at Punchestown when he beat the Goffer. I think the Goffer will probably reverse form with him based on that run. The one thing people seem to be completely missing about that race is half the obstacles were omitted that day. Like, I don't think they jumped Ruby's double because of the low sun, and there was definitely more obstacles that were taken out. So I think the race got away from a lot of the protagonists that day, and Desert Moor House was just well positioned. He's obviously, he's taken well to the discipline, but he's priced like he's an absolute natural, and I would probably rather take Stumptown or Favori Deschamps at a slightly shorter price than maybe Desert Moor House at his general 9-2, 5-1. The one I probably would give a chance to, because he's probably been trained to the day, and you might remember this from the old podcast deck. I've been speaking this into existence for probably 5 or 6 years. Fakir Duderie at 25-1. If the ground came up decent, I would imagine Enda Balder would have him ready to the minute for a race like this. My worry is the trip, but they walk around this course, as you've rightly said, Dec, and like Final Orders has gone and won a cross country chase, who is a 2 mile handicap chaser. So if he's been trained for this race specifically in mind, and I've thought since he's maybe a 5 or 6 year old that he'd probably take well to this discipline, I might take a chance on him at about 25-1. So Fakir Duderie back in the cross country bandwagon for myself. Dec, final recap of your selection.
Yeah, look, I have it between the top two, Stumptown and Favori Deschamps, but I just think Stumptown is so good at this discipline, and I'm saying this with my heart a little bit, because it was great to see the tricolour flying at an international meeting, and obviously we know Keith, having him won 5 times on Kiandana. I just love to see him go and do it again. I'd love to see him look beaten the whole way around, turn into the straight, and just win going away.
Yeah, absolutely. And Luke, it was Favori Deschamps on soft for you, or Final Orders if it's decent, is it?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and I think French Dynamite did not win a cross-country chase at Cheltenham. I must be getting them mixed up in another.
I think he ran him one. I think did he run out? No, he won the Munster National.
I know he won the Munster National. I just thought he won a race at Cheltenham for Mouse Morris. I must be getting.
He was beaten
in the Paddy Power. He was beaten in the Paddy Power by Law.
He was, yeah, and I probably back a lot that day, but I can't remember. I could have sworn he won a cross country chase. Obviously, I've got it wrong. Right, on to the main event then for Wednesday, the champion chase, BetMGM Queen Mother champion chase. Now, my betting is obviously wrong, so I'm probably just going to take this straight down because Marine National's obviously in here as a 2-1 shot, which is not true. Majborough 6-4, which is, again, I'm just going to take that straight off because Majborough is odds on. Luda Soda, let's say Tomp in there, probably around 7-2, 4-1 at the moment. The pair of them, John Bon and Quilixios. And I said, whatever you like, bar the rest, but it's Captain Guinness, who is 66-1. Dec, do you want to just get your spiel over with before we move on to Luke?
Look, I've been saying for a while that a pair of cheap pieces might sort Majborough out, and he was absolutely electric the last day. And it's going to be, you will do well to beat him. He's going to be tough to beat. But, the cheap pieces work once. You wouldn't be surprised this horse is so intelligent that he'll figure the cheap pieces out and the jumping will go with the pot again. He's going to have ideas of himself. Look, I've said this all winter and people are laughing at me. They've actually laughed at me the last 3 years in a row. We're going into year 4 now. If you haven't backed Captain Guinness each way through the winter, there isn't a financial advisor in Europe who can help you. I'm sorry, the money should be taken off you and given to someone who can use it better because, look at his Cheltenham record. He was travelling like a travelling thing in the Supreme when he was brought down by the equine bowling ball and it was Elixir Dene or something.
Elixir Dene came back after 3-year absence in a conditions hurt, won it, and then was never seen again.
Took him out. He was placed in an Arkle. He was second to an Ergamin in a champion chase. He won a champion chase, made a Fabiolo's jump and go to the pot, and that's what Speed can do. And then he was placed in a champion chase again last year. Look, he's had the winter he usually has. He doesn't like the dark. The heart does be going 90. The defibrillator does be out. But Henry said he needed to run well the last 8 and Ace, and I thought he ran well enough now to book a spot. How could you deny this horse another go at this race? And after today, I'm happy where I'm sitting on my anti-pose bets. And he deserves to win it again. Look, he deserves to run in it. And looking at it right now, could you really confidently say he wouldn't be placed in the race? Now a horse at 100-1. I backed down by night as well, early season. I actually have her in a double with Break My Soul, because that was the double of the decade. So straight after we done Break My Soul to win the Arkle and Only by Night to win the champion chase. My concern is if you're training the suspect stayer to stay 2 mile 5, how do you wind her back up now at this stage to run over 2 miles after today's news? She was good at Nice early on the season when Gavin's stable was under the cloud. And I thought she should have been going down this route all day long. But my concern is if you're training her to stay, even though she ran over 2 miles, were they just training her to stay, you have to wind her back up now. And this race is probably no other in the calendar. You can't miss a beat here. That's why you get, all the odds on shots beaten, because they can get away with it in other races, but there's nothing like the pace of a champion chase. And the one horse who's left in the race who's proven he can handle it is Captain Guinness. He can go around here at this championship pace and not miss a beat. So he will be placed. He'll probably win it.
If he won it again, it'd be the funniest. It'd be probably the funniest thing ever.
If he won this again, Jesus Christ, what would I do? The money he'd have won me.
I know, yeah. Unbelievable. Lukey.
Well, look, if he does win it again, you know what we're doing, lads. Back down to 3-1-3 club with the tricolour, and you have to do the conga.
Do the limbo, yeah.
I do the limbo.
Who's your Queen Mother winner, Luke?
We made a good few friends night, didn't we?
That was some night. That was unbelievable that night.
It was 2 a.m. telling you, man, his horse should have ran the stairs hurdle at the Capo.
Oh, I said the Paddy Butler. Yeah, why did you run the Capo Glory? That was.
Yeah.
Why didn't you run him in the stairs? In the 131 club that night, you couldn't get to the bar unless you done the limbo under the tricolour.
Good times.
You'll have to resurface that video now. If you take Majborough out of this race, in a year's time, this would be a glorified veterans chase now.
So we have a chance.
Yeah, like Load of Sud and Ilete Tampere, if they're 2 years off, but like you get down the line, you have Quilixios, John Bond, Tisselask, Irish Panther found a 50 all. They're at 9. Majborough is only 6. He's obviously he was a different horse the last day. Leopard it booked out, no messing about, and he did not miss a beat down that back straight in Leopard. It was great to watch. Will I back him at odds on with with the tendencies that we've seen in the past? Probably not. I would be taking a chance on hoping that Eddie and Patrick line up with Irish Panther here. I think like he could have a great chance here. Obviously that run behind Romeo Coolio the last day was a good run. I don't think there's many in this field that would have ran as well in that race. Like he has the form going back with Jacob's Ladder, who's a good horse who we bet. He looks very, for a 9-year-old, like he's very little miles on the clock. It'll only be his third chase fence or his third chase start, which would be a slight concern. Diving into the deep end here, but it's not a deep race. I'd chance him each way here.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning a similar way, to be honest with you. Like I said it on previous podcasts, I like until he does it again, Majborough is a time form darling for me. Like he's gone and been so impressive at the Dublin Racing Festival, but I'd still be a little bit skeptical of him replicating, especially if something took him on for the lead. Luda Sud easily has the ability to take him on for the lead. Now, whether they will do it is another question. He's like the kind of prototypical 2-miler now, in my opinion. Like he doesn't miss a fence, he jumps, he travels, he loves the track, he's fast. I think he's the most likely horse to run his race, and that even includes Majborough, because he could easily hit a few, especially over this course and distance. Ilete Tomp just hasn't done it at Cheltenham for me. John Bond probably a little bit past it, and he's showed time and time again that he takes 1 or 2 home with him in this race, especially when something goes a clip. Henry de Bromhead would be some training performance if you could get Quilixios back from a year off to go and win this straight up. He probably does have a better chance of Captain Guinness, because at least he's had a reason. And then if the rest of like the Harties have a really good chance. If they do give Irish Panther his opportunity at this, that's probably where I'll go as well.
Yeah. I'd have a good look at him now if he did run here. I actually did a double during the winter. Irish Panther to win this, and Romeo Coolio to win the Ryanair, which I think is the race that he should run in as well.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I think I remember us talking about that on top actually. But there's nothing that I'd worry about in Irish Panther's jumping, despite being so inexperienced. Like he's so accurate, he's so fast. And this is probably a weaker race than the Arkle. I can't trust Majborough, and as I said, Luda Sud is the most likely horse to run his race, but the questions are out whether he's a Grade 1 horse. The Champion Chase is probably one of the most specialist Grade 1s on the whole calendar, and people fall into the odds-on trap in this race year in, year out, and there's a reason why odds-on shots have such a bad record in this race. It's such a specialist race, and I can't have Majborough at his price. Fair play if you got on anti-post and you kept the faith. I hope he wins for you, but I would probably take a chance with Irish Panther, because Luda Sud is even still, that's just a tiny bit too short for me. Probably going to watch it, but Irish Panther if there was a gun to my head. Luke, I know you're in agreement. Dec, you're a Captain Guinness, right?
Yeah, well, look, I do think that the cheap pieces work wonders with Majborough, and he can prove he can handle this, but there is only one horse in the race who we know, like you just said it again, Andy, it's a very specialist race. Like you can't even think about offence. You can't stop the thing for a
Yeah.
moment in this race. And there's only one horse that we know can handle it. And he may be beat. He may not be good enough anymore. But if you haven't thrown a couple of euro on him each way, you're an absolute madman, because he's the only one that can tick all the boxes right now. Now he might be unticking the age box, but the thing with sprinters and 2 mile chasers are very similar. Is they don't have as much mileage on the clock, so they can go for a bit longer, you know, and they can still be competing at 11 years of age. And you know, we said it on the last pod, the sun's been back out the last 2 days. He's probably afraid of the dark. The heart goes 90, you know, but he's back. He loves Cheltenham. His best performances have been at Cheltenham. He comes alive there. He comes alive this time of year. Like, it's a real possibility that this 100-to-1 shot will be placed. And if you can be placed in this race, you can fall in and win the race. He's won it before. So, like, I think you're an idiot if you haven't had something on him at 100-to-1 during the winter. Like, you're all gonna have worse bets this week, next week. This week you'll have worse bets this week. Dundalk's coming up Friday. You'll have worse bets there. You know, let me give it a few tips there. Like, just have a couple of euro on him. He might run into a place. Some of the horses you've backed to win won't run into a place 100%. But this fella might run into a place, and he'd probably win it.
There you go. Right. So next up is the Debenhams Johnny Henderson Grand Annual Challenge Cup handicap. Chase, it's over just shy of 2 miles. Yeah, Debenhams apparently they're shutting down shops left, right, and centre, but they're sponsoring a race at the Cheltenham Festival. There you go. Be Aware is currently your 7-to-1 favourite, with Ryan's Rocket at 8-to-1. Vanderpool, Jazzy Matty, last year's winner, and Jacob's Ladder, winner last weekend, around 10-to-1. Release the Beast, there's been a lot of tips for him recently at 12-to-1. Ballysack's Hank knows well, Countdown knows him well. Highlands Legacy and In the Pocket around 14-to-1. 16-to-1 Bar. Couldn't be bothered thinking of anything else to describe Bar at the moment. Luke, I'm going to come straight back to you here for the Grand Annual. Do you have any fancy right now?
You'd have to fancy Captain Guinness off 154 here, wouldn't you?
Look, there's 2 horses in this race, right? There's 2 horses in this race that we previously mentioned. They're not running here. If they run here, I'm giving up this game. There's no way the mare should run here when she could, at the very least, place in the Arkle. And Captain Guinness should go out. Like, Marina has been pulled out, and he should go out in a handicap. Like, they're not running. If they run here, I'm never coming on this show again. Don't invite me back on.
It's our show. They're placing a link. They won't just watch me, Jack. What are you talking about? Right.
There's my little bit of a wind up done anyway on Captain Guinness, but time for the second one. Like if Break My Soul turns up
not running here,
I'd give her every chance here off 3-6. Like, she's carrying 10-9. As Dec had mentioned in the last podcast, like, that first run in Gordon was very good. Beating Gordon's filly. Obviously things didn't go to plan then in the 2 grade 1s at Leopardstown over Christmas and the DRF. He showed a lot more spark the last day at Punchestown behind Pure Steel. Or she didn't even run at DRF. But if she turned up here, like, she's a big price. I chance her non-runner, no bet there. As covers his ears and goes for over. The other one was Jazzy Matty. Jazzy Matty turned up here £8 higher than he was last year. I thought he's a good winner last year. Still think he's on a decent mark. He's won twice at the festival, including last year, and going back to his Fred Winter in 2023, that magic day for Michael O'Sullivan. And he tipped away over hurdles in the main since that win last year. He ran the Galway plate, but that was over 2 miles 6. I wouldn't read too much into that. He had a nice run the last day, a nice little pipe opener over hurdles. And he's around a double figure price there. I'd chance him each way. He looks sure to be decent.
Okay, interesting. Dec, I'll come to you. Captain Guinness, what's your thoughts on him for the grand? Not money, man.
He's going for the reverse. He's going for the reverse forecast.
Reverse forecast, break my
It
soul.
would honestly be the funniest thing ever if they were first and second in this, right? Like,
well, I'll do it. Like, come on, lads. I'll have to make my money back somehow. Look, there's no way she should run this race. Is there, like, you know, a mare?
Well, why don't you just ring in and ask him?
I thought I'm trying to convince him. No, Jesus, no. It's got to the stage he's saying, your mare. your mare is still in the Grand Annual. I talk about her that much. Look, she'd run in the Arkle and just win that. Look, she can come here after winning the Arkle. There's nothing wrong with that. But would you have to pay a penalty? A £7 penalty? Look, and Captain Guinness should go out. Look, Jazzy Matty, £8 higher than last year. I do like him as well. Release the beast, you mentioned, Andy. 7-year-old, 1.6 over fences. He was second to Adagrill at Christmas. And Adagrill was toured at the Dublin Racing Festival. There's two I really like here, but it's Down Mexico Way and Relieve the Duties. Down Mexico Way got a good mention earlier. He was a handicap winner of 134 in Ireland. He hacked around in the Irish Arkle behind Romeo Coolio and Cargeese. He's had 4 chase starts. He's coming here fairly unexposed and then Relieve the Duties. I remember I was at Fairly House when Luke laughed at me. I said Relieve the Duties to win the damn horse. He just burst out laughing at me. I still don't know why. But I was very impressed. I like Relieve the Duties over hurdles. And then I think he just wasn't man enough. But when I seen him make his chase debut at Fairly House, it was like he'd grown into a man, and he was quick over his fences. He looked like a proper 2-miler. Very, very impressive. He stayed on to be second at Cheltenham in October. Maybe wasn't by design. He just kept galloping. But then he's had 2 below par runs since at Punchestown. Break my soul actually was second in the race the last day, but the race was it the Florida Pearl that he trailed in last?
Craddockstown.
The Craddockstown, yeah. So Florida Pearl, the Stayers race. Yeah, look, 136 I think is a very, very dangerous mark for him. I'd have it between the 2 of them, Down Mexico Way and Relieve the Duties.
All right, 2 Irish charges for Dec. I found this race quite hard really at the moment now, to be honest with you. There's one I'd give a chance to. It's because I like veterans in this sort of race. I think Boot Hill at the age of 11 for Harry Fry. I wouldn't be surprised if he ran a big race. So the handicapper's giving him a real chance. Like in November 2024, he was rated 158, and that's when he was getting beaten by John Bond by only a length and a half in a short chase.
Is he John Bond's mate or Shishkin's mate?
Both. I think they're both. Yeah, I think he's running against both of them. More so John Bond, but he's running against both of them. He was last seen, this year, he was pulled up behind Calico in a handicap chase off 157. He's 12 pounds lower than that now. In his 2 starts since, he was beaten 75 lengths by Elite Tomp in the Tingle Creek. And then he actually ran better than the finishing position suggests at Kempton when he was last seen in the Desert Orchid, which is now a handicap at Kempton. He's beaten about 25 lengths by Tisselask, who has probably been the most progressive horse in training this season. San Segal was second that day, who was second then to Lalamba at Newbury. So that's not the worst form you're ever going to see. Sans Brute was fourth, who only usually ever performs at Aintree in the springtime. He was 149 that day. He's been reduced to 145 now as an 11-year-old. He's 25 to 1. He does have the profile of a horse that would run well in this race because it does lend itself to kind of older horses. I suppose maybe the only question is he's only run at Cheltenham once, but the one time he did run at Cheltenham, he nearly won the Schlor. He nearly beat John Bon, nearly caused a big shock. So he is an 11-year-old. The handicapper's giving him a chance, 25-1. I'm happy to take a chance on Boot Hill in the Grand Annual for Harry Fry. Moving on, lads, to the final race on the Wednesday. We're all probably, sprinting for the exit at this stage, but it's the Weatherby's Champion Bumper.
I love a bumper.
In memory, I know you do, yeah. In memory of Sir Johnny Weatherby. Now, this rattled me because I thought the Weatherby's Champion Bumper was the place that, done all the sales of registering the horses. And now it's in memory of Johnny Weatherby. So now I don't know if just Johnny
you sure
Weatherby
it's not the Weatherby's champion?
The Weatherby's Champion Bumper in memory of Johnny Weatherby. There's a lot of Weatherbys here.
Are they spelled the same?
Well, yeah, you can see it on the screen there.
Yeah, but you typed that.
I copy and pasted it. Anyway, Luke, I'm going to come to you first again for the Weatherby's Champion Bumper. Who remembers Sir Johnny Weatherby? Who do you think wins the Weatherby's Champion Bumper in memory of Johnny Weatherby?
Unlike most years, we don't have like a real standout. Like usually you're going over here and there's some Willie Mullins hot pot. Everyone's been backing all the way through the winter, but like there's none of that this year. Love Sign Danu was impressive at Nace, but like it was over 2.5 miles on bottomless ground. I'd be happy enough to leave him run at that price. The Irish Avatar was good at Navan beating Gordon's horse who franked that, but I'm not sure Gordon's horse ran its race that day. Byrne won the day that Beer and Nace from McLaury done us an L solid and made fun of us around his way around Nace. There's two that I was going to take a chance on. With No Limit. LeMay is
With No
LeMay, yeah.
I knew you'd go there.
He's some attitude, like all the way up the straight in Leopardstown, like he looked like they were all going to swarm around him and go by him. Like it only took for Broadway Ted to kind of nut him on the line, kind of flashing by. He's real hardy.
Like Ted not in front the whole way up the straight there.
No, he
wasn't on the line. Broadway Ted was in front the whole way up the straight.
He wasn't.
And then
he travelled into it.
An inquiry there. The bookie wouldn't pay me out.
He's inquiry
on there paying you.
But no, like he come on a lot from his first run, the first day in Navan when he's bet by Charismatic Kid. He went off favourite that day. Obviously, Gordon ended up with Charismatic Kid now. One well if Ariel showed a great attitude again on Tap National Day, before being second at Leopardstown behind Broadway Ted. I love his attitude there, and he's 28-1. I'd happy take him each way. And the other one was Dec's other bumper winner from the DRF, Moon Varen. I know there was a lot. If she used to turn up here, I'd take a chance on her. Like I know there was a lot of the Royals Hillsborough. His hands dropped the last half furlong, but I thought this one, like if Royals Hillsborough had joined her now furlong out, she would have went away. She just looked very idle and green up the straight, like she was running around, and all of a sudden when Royals Hillsborough got to her, she went on again, done her on the line. Obviously helped by the riding on the second, but like she's a mad out price here. If she turned up getting weight, I'd chance the two of them each way at big prices.
Well, Royal Hillsborough did, I think did find a bit of trouble in running though, didn't she?
She was entering like yesterday as well.
Yeah, like Moon Varen like ran around all the way up the straight. Like once she hit the front, didn't know what was going on. So I would, if they met again, like I would happily hop Moon Varen now.
Sorry, no, you're actually right. Sorry, Moon Varen was the one that hit the trouble and run. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, okay. So Moon Varen, or who was the other one there, Lukey?
With No Limit.
With no, oh yeah, obviously with no limit. How can I forget it? Yeah. Right, Dec, Champion Bumper. Take it away. Everyone's going to be listening here with bated breath because you have a lot to live up to here with bumpers. So
yeah, look, with the work I've put in this year on bumpers, I've a long short list. Obviously, Moon Everin, Luke. Moon Everin.
Wait, that's Moon Varen.
Is it Moon Varen or Moon Everin?
Where are you getting the E?
Moon
I don't know. I wasn't even watching the race. I just remember Steve Edwards shouting over at me, "What colour are we in?" And I was like, "I don't know, maroon or something." I was talking to Hugo Kane. He's like, "What colour are we in?" I said, "Maroon or something." He's like, "There's nothing in fucking maroon." I went down and look. No, that's not us. That's not us. And all of a sudden, flashed up in the screen. Me and Vera. And yeah, obviously, I look. The way I approach this race every year is we talk about the importance of being out racing. If I've seen something that looked impressive, but I've seen a lot of them now at this stage. I keeping company was probably the first one I seen. I remember thinking before Christmas he's the best bumper horse in the country, and he did have Royal Hillsborough back in third at Christmas. He won at Fairy House but before Christmas. I think he's a really, really nice horse. We haven't seen him since. Boys Town, he was it 3.5 lengths second. It's only a game. Gavin was really out of form that day, and that's the day I remember thinking Gavin's are really running really, really poor. But he bolted up at Christmas like a really, really nice horse. Broadway Ted has obviously gone and won the bumper at the DRF, where it's only a game round as well. There's a good line of form through Devane. The two of them have beaten him and Ballyfad have beaten Devane. Same, but Mickey Bowen has one in here. Nimba, lads, you might remember.
I did remember. I thought you were going to bring him up. Yeah.
I have to bring him up, and
really impressive.
He was second in the Old Town point to point that we've harped on about so much all winter. He won the 4 mile maiden point to point next time out. He won the Catrick bumper. He was quite green that day, but he still won like a good horse.
Easily, yeah.
He's a big prize here. I think there's a strong enough hand there with Boys Town, Broadway Ted, keeping company, Moon Vernon coming from Ireland. But you know, I nearly feel dirty now not putting him up, having talked about this Old Town point to point for him so much. So
and where are we going to see Jet of Stars? He is entered, isn't he?
Jet of Stars is entered. Where was it? Hang on. I'll pull up the email now. Jet of Stars is obviously the winner of this point to point, and our regular listeners will know what we're talking about. I'm going to pull this up now. You'll have to bear with me.
You're okay. Keep going.
I sent it into the group, did I?
You did, yeah.
Oh, hang on. It's come up straight away there. He's entered there on Saturday.
Yeah.
In the 505, it's obviously a bumper. Yeah. He will win. I'd say this thing is a machine. There's a good chance this thing will win the bumper at Aintree, I'd say. You'd imagine that's where he's going, wouldn't you, from that yard?
You would have thought, yeah.
He's going after the Grand National while everyone's still queuing at the bookies trying to collect their winnings, and that they won't pay out until Sunday morning. There's a good chance he'll win the bumper. But look, there's a lot I like, because believe it or not, I did put a lot of time into bumpers this winter. So Boys Town, Broadway Ted, Keaton Company, I think are really, really nice, and obviously the mare, Moon Vernon. But Nimba, second that Old Town point to point. Mickey Bowen building himself a nice stable. A rare British winner of the bumper.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, Dec, when I was going through the bumper, I was happy to see Nimba get an entry, because I was expecting him to rock up at Ascot. In the bumper that they usually have in December. It was one in 2025.
He ran one in it.
Yeah, but it ran no race. It was beaten after halfway. And we did back it because we thought it was there instead of Nimba. And obviously it wasn't. Win Beneath by Wings won that race, and Super Sunday might have actually beaten it. It's usually a good, as far as English bumpers goes, it's usually very good. I'm going to definitely back Nimba at 66-1. But unsurprisingly to most listeners and to yourself, Dec, probably I'm going to stick with it's only a game. I don't know what the hell they were doing at the Dublin Racing Festival. The horse was held up about 10 lengths off the lead. The tapes went up. He was at an instant disadvantage. He travelled as well as anything. And John Gleeson took a big tug at the reins at where the second last would usually be, and brought the horse inside and then brought him back to the outside when they swung for home. Lost a ton of ground, probably ran his race at the top of the home straight. Thought he plugged on quite well. I'm still convinced this is a serious horse, and I've seen horses from the Dublin Racing Festival to Cheltenham trained by Martin Brassel, seriously improve. An epic song and Fast or Slow in the Coral Cup spring to mind. I know this is a bumper, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a big improvement from It's Only a Game, who's still 25-1. I'm convinced this is a serious horse. So I'll take him and Nimba, 25 and 66. I think I'm allowed to have two stabs at it. I would be very terrified of Low Sign Deneau, who I thought was extremely impressive on his rules debut. By the right sire as well. I don't know what Willie Mullins is going to be like with those horses, but probably a worthy favourite.
I am led to believe, Andy, that Sean Bowen is going to ride Broadway Ted in the bumper. I'm led to believe that. So
would make sense.
I assume James is going to ride Nimba. But on the horse we've discussed, like if you go on to the exchanges, Boys Town's 110, Nimba's 100, Moon Verdon's 85. Like
it was James Bowen that rode Nimba. So you said that was James, was it? That's going to ride Nimba.
No, I don't know who's riding Nimba, but I'm led to believe Sean Bowen's going to ride Broadway Ted. He may have rode him there now. I don't know. Also, with Nolan May is 50s. Like the horses we've all mentioned, you could probably bang. You could have euro on tomorrow and come out and profit in this race if one of them won.
Yeah,
and that's
loads of horses. Loads of horses at big prices. That's the main thing. Right, before we go, then lads, a bit of a longer podcast. Not a recap of your selections, Dec. However, if you can give us your best bet in your opinion, or your next best, if you want to give three at big prices, go ahead. But if you can condense them to the best of your ability, even into a Trixie or a Yankee, go ahead.
Captain Guinness, the nap. He's right, okay. And then the Ballyfad K Doughty double to get you off the flyer.
Brilliant, lovely. Luke.
We've been going that long that my AirPods, eagle-eyed viewers will have realised I've been on and off charging them the last half hour here. That just goes to show how long we've been on the go now at this stage. I swear I wasn't just avoiding listening to your chat. But anyway, best bet would probably be that impression that Mighty Park left on me in Fairy House is sticking with me. I'll go with him. Best bet in the Turners, and best will take a chance on Aaron Glory in the Coral Cup if he shows up.
Sorry, who in the Coral Cup? Sorry.
Aaron Glory.
Farron Glory. Okay, very good. I'm struggling a bit on the Wednesday, lads, but I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm praying he's declared, and I think Danny Mullins will ride, but my best bet on Wednesday is Predators Gold in the Broadway.
That's what we want around here.
66-1. Nap, like I'd actually genuinely be disappointed if he's declared and out of the trio.
But there's a nap double, Predators Gold and Captain Guinness. Whatever.
Yeah. As far as second best goes, I don't know what else he do because that thing is 66-1. It is probably It's Only a Game. Like I've been really impressed with him since November. 25-1, the champion bumper. There's your little double. If you want to get really funky, Zeus Power at 100-1 or 66, depending on where you look in the Bearing Bingham. That's a tricks each way Trixie if you want to try and retire on the Wednesday. It will be my play. At short prices, I don't think there's much for the Wednesday. Like I'd want to see I started a joke declared, and I think they're the big ones. So
still no nap at the top.
Still no nap at the top, but we still have 2 more podcasts to go, Dec.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get there eventually. Do join us for Tap 150. It feels weird having a landmark Tap 150 and we're doing it at Cheltenham, but it is what it is. But
we won't tell anyone in order.
We won't. Exactly, yeah. No, we will. We should hopefully find a nap at the top. But it's just like you said at the top of Tap 148, Dec. Like it's such an open Cheltenham, so it's no surprise that we all have contrasting views. And hopefully you guys have found this enlightening and decent. So keep sharing, subscribing, commenting. Let us know what you think. We'll be back shortly for Tap 1. Well, like if you're watching these obviously on playback, we will be back instantly for Tap 150 or 151. But until then, just keep sharing, subscribing. All the best. Thanks and bye-bye.
Cheers.